Again, last 2 games we've come out offense. Last 3 games we've come out. All games as we came out offensively and did a great job just getting on the board early. But obviously, the last 2 games we just continued to put pressure on them. And again, we talked about this early. Just wind blows in, we got to find ways to win today. Obviously, with the wind blowing out again, we did it by the home run. But obviously we had I think 6 or 7 walks. Not 10 walks. So just getting guys on base and passing the bat, knock out 14 hits. We only left 9 guys on base. So we did a good job today of taking the runs when they were out there. So just proud of the guys. As frustrating and difficult as game 1 was, I think for everybody, to bounce back and to win 3 in a row and to play, again, Friday we didn't play very well, even game 2. But last 2 days we played really, really well. So, would I've ever guessed that, we'd be at game 44 when we get to 500? Absolutely not. But here we are. And, it's been a grind to get here and with a ton of injuries and just can't get in rhythm. But, hopefully we're kind of getting there and proud of Jack Sinclair. Just, again, thin in the bullpen. Just with as many guys as we used the first 2 days and needed a big start out of him. He gave us a great one. Obviously, I think the home run kind of rattled him a little bit, but again, he was getting able to get back into it, manage the inning with only 2 runs and give us a chance to kind of blow it open again. And, Nolan Lepkowski, doesn't look great, the line, in terms of two-thirds of an inning and 3 runs, but that's the best I've seen him throw in 2 years since the fall game when he was, sitting 95, 97. So the velocity's starting to get back. He's been working his tail off. So proud of him. And obviously, John Montez hitting 2 home runs and Pablo goes 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And we talk about the mental side, mental toughness, not taking at bats with you. Nothing that you do in your first at bat carries over. 0 for 3. I think a lot of guys would go up there thinking like, holy cow, and feel like they're already down 0-2, but he goes out there, puts together a good at bat, hits the grand slam. So just a lot of good things, from the last 2 days. We just got to hopefully ride this momentum and finish the year the way we feel like we should.
Coach, it was a long weekend, obviously 4 games. It's a hot day today. You had an opportunity to maybe, win it a little bit earlier with the 10-plus run lead. So how happy were you to see John Montez kind of ended right there and not have to continue to play?
No, I was very happy. Obviously just trying to get out of here without getting anybody injured. And, obviously, again, just the heat and stuff. It was a long weekend with the 4 games. And, this has been the hottest it's been, all year. So obviously starting to make the turn towards summer and stuff. So, it was good. We got a big lead. I got to get Crouch out of the behind the plate and save him and say, for the stretch here. So just a lot of good things. But yeah, obviously we would have liked to ended it at half an inning earlier, but I'm glad that we were able to continue to score. We stressed a lot this week about winning innings and really trying to play 9 games inside of the game and really trying to focus on putting together good at bats and finding ways to win the inning. And so it was good. We give up the 3 spot and we come back and take it right back. So just proud of the kids for continuing to compete. I think we could have easily just kind of mailed it in and said the game's out of reach and, I emptied the bench and all that kind of stuff. But I thought the guys on the bench did a good job of cheering the guys on that they got in the game and put together some good at bats and just kept playing the game. And obviously John gets a big home run, but yeah, I think everybody was glad to get out of here and get out of the heat.
You said before that, during the beginning of this season that you weren't, to have a successful season, you needed Jack Sinclair to pitch big innings for you. And he's done that for you here the last couple of weeks, the big win last week in Greenville, the last game of the series, and here today to clinch the series. Just what have you seen from him over the last few weeks here? And he's stepped up big here in your rotation.
Yeah, just the maturity and the ability to go out there and handle the pressure and really control the things that he can control. Didn't think he pitched as well today that he did last week. Obviously a much different lineup. They were left-handed dominant. These guys were all right-handers. So he wasn't as sharp as he was last week, but when you just go out there and compete and you have the maturity to handle that and understand that you don't have your best stuff, but you don't need it to do well. mean, that's what you expect out of a fourth-year guy and a guy that's been in our program and a guy that's, been in some really, really big games during his career. So, he's made us a huge maturity jump this year, just from a work and a preparation. And I think he's starting to see the fruits of that kind of labor. And, we needed it. Obviously, at a time when we needed it the most, he has stepped up big time and given us a chance to win games on Sunday and given us deep starts to not have to go to guys too much in the bullpen, going to their third appearance on the weekend, or bringing, guys in who aren't prepared for that moment. So just been really, really proud of Jack and what he's done this year, but especially the last 2 weeks. And in order for us to be really good, we're going to need it for the rest of the season.
Coach, you managed this series has been bookended by 2 games that ended via the 10-run rule. What did it feel like to go from game 1 with losing via the 10-run rule to game 4 to winning by the 10-run rule?
You're happy that you're seeing progress and that we're playing better and that we're doing some of the things that we feel like we are capable of. We talked a lot early in the year about having 4, 5, 6 guys possibly that could hit double-digit home runs. We're starting to push that. Now guys are starting to play really well. Obviously, what Jordan Rathbone has done every single day, showing up, playing injured, never takes a day off. Like, just, really is the heartbeat of our team. We've done such a good job since Tommy has gone into the leadoff role. He's walked so many times and, just giving our guys, in behind him a chance to knock him in and score some runs. And, so that's been good. But, just as poorly as we played, and again, I felt like we got punched in the mouth and just kind of were stunned and didn't handle it very well. And again, with the win the way it was, like, we could have put up a lot of runs in that first game, and then obviously it carried over to game 2 in terms of just playing poor defense. And but I thought that we answered. I mean, you gotta show up and continue to play. Like, we still got stuff to play for. We still got stuff that we need to accomplish. There's still things in front of us that we can do, and the only way we're gonna be able to do that is if we continue to get better. We got to show up every day and find a way. So proud of the offense for continuing to show up and put some big numbers on the board this weekend. And then again, proud of guys like Jack to be able to hold them down and give us a chance to win games.
So, Coach, now you're heading into the home stretch of the season. We're into May, 12-8 now in conference, 3rd place. I know you like to wipe Friday from your memory, but other than that, looking at how the team played last weekend, how they rebounded this weekend, how do you kind of feel about everything heading into the final 3 weeks of conference play?
I feel like I felt like every day this year, whereas like I'm just not sure who's going to show up and what team. And, we've gotten more consistent as the year goes on, but, we still have these days where we just don't show up. And so frustrating, but, we just got to continue to work, and continue to challenge these kids to be great every single day. And life greatness isn't a every other day thing. Like, you got to show up and be a great dad every single day. You got to be a great husband every day. You got to show up to work every day and be great. So we got to continue to do that. And again, early on in the year I felt like it was every other game, and then we were getting some 2-game, streaks going, and now we're getting some 3-game streak going. So, we're starting to be more consistent, just not to the level that we need to be in order to be as good as we possibly can be. So we got to continue to push and continue to get better and continue to really concentrate on, again, trying to, again, part of that reason that we were doing the inning thing of winning innings was to really be present and really try to make every inning important, and not come out and not do that, and try to be more consistent. So we got to continue to do that. And hopefully, again, offensively though, these last 3 games, we put up double-digit runs and really started to do some good things. So you're hoping that the offense, again, we're so young offensively, and obviously we've had a ton of injuries. So, the John Montez's, the Alex Freelands, the Andrew Brates, the Pablo Ruizes, those guys aren't freshmen anymore. Like, they are growing up, and they've got a ton of at-bats, and they've seen the ups and downs of how the season goes. And, and hopefully that leads to more maturity and more just consistency. And again, same thing, even Jeffrey Pena, who didn't play much as a freshman, and then he only gets 18 starts last year. And so again, it's the same thing for him. And even Jordan Rathbone, I mean, he doesn't play as a junior, comes in last year and gets off to a great start. So, I mean, just so many guys with lack of experience, that consistency is really hard when you don't have that experience. Just how do you prep? How do you show up every day? How do you work? How do you handle going 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts and then still get a home run in your last at bat? Like, how do you do that? Like, it's not easy. It's also not, it's one thing to like talk about it and teach it and have a game plan. But when you go 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, man, that game plan you forget sometimes because you're embarrassed or you're frustrated or whatever the case is. So going through those types of situations and learning how to handle them, or being in those moments and realizing like, well, I'm not going to do that again. Like I need to be better my next time. So, just offensively, hopefully we're starting to do some things that we expect out of this group, and hopefully that takes some pressure off the pitching staff. And, and obviously again, we need the pitchers to step up and continue to do, things like Jackson Clare did, and, what Hunter and Ben have done out of the bullpen, and obviously what Litchfield does. So I'm excited. I hope that we are kind of turning a corner from both sides of the ball. And again, second game Saturday, 7 or 8 errors. Like, it hadn't been us all year. We haven't really done that. So, I mean, it was just a bad game, and just at the worst time that we needed it, you know what I mean? And luckily we were able to get the win, but we just got to keep going and showing up, and these guys are getting older and more experienced, and hopefully that comes into play here at the end.
There seems to be from the outside, this group's pretty close. Like, they showed Colton Gordon supporting this team on the other day, even though he's out for the year. With all the adversity you've gone through with the injuries, a lot of teams, especially with the youth that you have, might have said, we just can't handle this, but they seem to continue to fight. I know you're not playing at the consistency you would like, but you got to like the fight that this team has.
No doubt. I mean, they've been through a lot the last 14 months between COVID and injuries and just dealing with all the crap that we had to deal with in the fall of really struggling to be around each other and whatnot. So again, over the last 3 months, we've seen growth from that standpoint as well. Obviously the pitching staff has always been pretty close. They're a little bit older. The guys like Saltonstall and Litchfield, Hunsaker and those guys, I mean, they've been around Jack. I mean, those guys have been together for 3-4 years. So they've always had this really close bond. And obviously Colton is just such an ultimate team guy. They just wants to win. And it doesn't matter if he's pitching that day or not. He wants to try to help the team win. And he's been unbelievable in the dugout all weekend. Again, just been proud of him, how he's handled the bad news this week, and just showed up and wanted to help. But we've been getting closer and closer and more tight knit, obviously being on the road, doing those different kinds of things, like just being around each other more. It's the stuff that you wish we could have done in the fall in terms of building that stuff is just late to the party because of all the stuff. And that's something that's supposed to be one of the strengths of this program. So you're starting to see that. We're starting, again, hopefully starting to play better, play closer, understanding, kind of been through some of the wars and the battles and whatnot. And just being around each other more in the locker room and on the bus and in the hotels and all that kind of stuff. So we're getting there, you know what I mean? So hopefully we can just kind of ride this wave for the next few weeks.
Coach, Hunter Goodman managed to get three home runs this series. One, I believe 3 out of the 4 he managed to hit one. What was it like going up against him this week?
I mean, it's why we walked him most of the time. Like, when the game was close, we were not going to let him be a difference maker. And so, I don't know, we intentionally walked him 4 or 5 times. We pitched around him 2 or 3 more times. Got lucky a couple of times. He got himself out. He's obviously a dangerous player. There's a reason why he's, supposed to be a top 2 rounder, and he has unreal power and ability to hit. And so, again, we made a decision early on not to let him be the difference maker in the game. So, I mean, really, when early in this game, when the game was still 0-0 and there was a lot of gameplay, we tried to get after him. And obviously when the games were out of hand, we let him hit. But other than that, there was no chance we were going to let him do damage and make a game out of it or allow them to win the game. So, and our pitchers managed it. I think out of all the times we intentionally walked them, only one time did they score any runs. So 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6 times, whatever it was. Like, I thought our guys managed that well. And, I'm sure our guys are competitive and want to face them, but, got to try to win the game. So I'm glad to see he's on a bus heading home to Memphis.
These 4-game series, as this kind of develops, it seems like the pitching for all sides kind of get depleted. More offense. Is that where you're talking about? You're hoping this offense can continue this track? Because you might have to win a Saturday or a Sunday game, at least one of these games in this series, like a 12-8 game, because it's across the league, not just where these scores kind of blow up, because these 4-game series take its toll on both teams.
Yeah. I mean, again, it does. I mean, if you get good starting pitching, usually it doesn't. I mean, most teams have 3-4 bullpen guys. I mean, you can manage games with 3 or 4 guys if you're getting 6-7 innings out of your starter. It's when your starting pitching gets knocked out early in the game where it really starts to stress you. And again, I think long days, I think that has something to do with it. But I mean, you look around the college baseball landscape this year, there seems to be a ton of big run scoring games. I just think obviously the offenses have been just kind of infused with a lot of talent with the draft and whatnot. And I think guys are knowing that, hey, like bullpens are maybe on paper a little deeper than maybe normal. And so you're going to the bullpen earlier knowing that, hey, I'm not going to sit here and let the starter who's given up 3 or 4 runs in 3 or 4 innings, like give up another 3 spot and make this game out of hand or whatnot. So I think guys are going to their bullpens a little bit earlier. Obviously the formation of guys in the back end that are throwing with high velocity, that you see in the big leagues. I mean, that's trickled down into college. I mean, you got the guy at Mississippi State I'm watching 3 games last night. The dudes that are throwing 96, 97, 98 miles an hour. So I think guys are, managers are just more apt to going to their bullpen and trying to manage games and whatnot. But obviously offenses are, I think, just a little bit better than maybe they've been in the last couple of years. So I don't know how much, what my physical feeling is after, a Sunday game is probably way different than what the kids is. You know what I mean? So as much as I'm like, man, like I'm tired, like and of course me coaching third changes that too. Like I'm standing up a lot. So, so my knees hurt right now, but like I asked Josh Crouch when he was at third base there in the 5th. I'm like, how you feeling? He's like, I feel fine. Like, obviously our guys are doing a great job. Our strength coach and our ops guy, feeding them and getting them through recovery and doing different things to make them feel good. I don't do any of that. So like, there's a reason why I don't feel as good as they probably do. And probably, 25 years helps that too. So, but I just think it's a mixture of a bunch of things. Pitchers not getting as much work in the last couple of years in terms of development. So there are some high velocities, but development time is huge. And so not being able to play for a year, and if you played summer ball or if you didn't, and what that competition was like, obviously not playing last year, the fall, like some guys did something, some guys didn't. So I mean, I just think a lot of that, you just start adding that all up and, you just kind of get some big games. So, but we haven't had a ton of these games all year, I don't think. I mean, I sure don't feel like we've, only 22 wins. Like, I don't think we've had a ton of opportunities to 10-run rule people and get 10-run ruled and all that kind of stuff. So it feels like they're close games, even if they're high scoring. So it's a grind every single day.
Coach, you mentioned this team's youth. I saw, looking back at the stats of this game, there was a huge difference in the amount of balls that were thrown. Memphis managed to throw many more balls and of course they allowed 10 walks. What can you say about, you mentioned your team's youth. So what can you say about their plate patience?
Well, I mean, it's been better. I mean, we've walked a ton this year. I mean, we're top 5 or top 10 in the country in walks offensively, which again is a sign of maturity. I think a lot of guys want to go out there and hit. Like, I want to hit. I want to get my hits. And we talk so much about quality at bats, like just get on base. And whether that's a hit by pitch, we talk a lot about we're here to play baseball, not dodgeball. Like, so let the ball hit you. Like, we need to take our walks when they give us. We need to make sure our swing decisions in terms of balls and strikes, and also swing decisions in terms of what is the game plan. Like, the guy that threw today, a big sinker baller, had a ton of run on his fastball. We got to look for balls out over the plate. Anything that starts in is going to end up either in your hip pocket or off the plate. And so can we do a good job of selecting good pitches to hit? And a lot of that comes to do with swinging at balls or swinging at strikes and taking balls. So we've walked a ton, which has been, I'm really proud of the offense especially from a young standpoint of guys that just want to go up there and they want to hit. They get into 2-1, 2-0, 3-1 counts and they're swinging. And it doesn't matter what you throw up there. But again, 20 years ago in college baseball, you were piping fastballs down the middle in those counts. Now it's, man, you got guys throwing 98 in college. They're ripping off 85-mile-an-hour breaking balls in fastball counts just because the damage that can be done when you throw fastballs down the middle, right? So we got to be able to take those pitches and force the opposing pitchers to throw the ball over the plate. And so proud of our guys for doing that, because I think we've done a great job of that all year of putting ourselves, again, early on in the year. Our biggest downfall offensively was then getting into those good situations where we had runners on base and then just not being able to capitalize. And, obviously this weekend we did a great job. We did not leave many runners on base in terms of without scoring. We had one this inning. I think we had bases loaded or second and third, and we went strikeout, I think, and didn't score any runs. But I think, all 3 games that we scored a bunch of runs, like 80-90% of the time when we had guys in scoring position, we were knocking them in. So we're getting on base and then we're getting the big hit or just passing the bat. I mean, that's what we talked a lot about. Just get the next guy up. Just find a way to get the next guy up. That's a walk, a hit by pitch, a base hit, a home run. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, put together a quality at bat and get the next guy up. So walking is a big part of that. And so being able to get guys on base and, obviously with our base stealing and things that we do and putting ourselves in running a scoring position, and then just being able to go out there and put together good bats. And again, we've done a much better job of that lately offensively, but obviously walking and forcing guys to throw strikes. When you do that, again, we talk about that. Like, if you want to get to your bullpen earlier, you want to, especially on, early in the weekend, try to stress the bullpen. Like, how do you do that? You got to put pressure on the starting pitcher by, not allowing him to dictate the tempo and us swinging out of the zone and allowing him to get through innings. If you can just, even if it's 3 pitches here and 1 pitch here and 5 pitches here, all of a sudden in 5 innings, that's 20 more pitches. Maybe that gets them out of the game in the 5th or the 6th, and now we got to go to their bullpen. We did a great job of that against East Carolina, where even in that first game that we lost, we stressed their bullpen. They had to throw their 3 best relievers in that first game, and that set us up to be able to win 2 games by, even though we lost the game, like we had a great offensive approach. We got Gavin out of there earlier than he could have been by putting some pressure on him. And then we get to the bullpen. We did a great job allowing them to walk us and, again, put stress on them where they next guy. And next thing you know, their 2 best bullpen guys and their closer in the game. And they all got to come back and throw multiple innings or multiple appearances. And, obviously, for the most part, pitchers, when they got to throw on short rest in terms of back-to-back days, stuff like that, they're just not as effective. It doesn't mean they're not going to get the job done, but their stuff isn't as good. Their velocity might not be as good. And we got to some of those guys last week. So same thing, like getting these starting pitchers out of the game this weekend was huge. We knew we needed to get to the bullpen. We felt like that was a weakness. And so we needed to be able to get there and then be able to take advantage. And we did a good job of that. Friday first game, we get 2 home runs in the first, and then we only get 4 hits the rest of the 7 innings. Like, we didn't do a good job of stressing their bullpen. But again, these last 3 games, when you're able to get through that and get to the bullpen, we're able to put up a lot more crooked numbers.